The day you showed them everything, that was the day you lost the advantage you never knew you had. Not the day you failed. Not the day you made the wrong move, or backed the wrong decision, or trusted the wrong person. Those are recoverable. Every failure has a correction. Every wrong move has a counter. But the day you laid yourself completely open, the day you let the full architecture of your capability, your thinking, your limits, your hunger, your fear, become visible to the people sharing your space, that is the day the game tilted away from you, in a way you cannot simply reverse by trying harder. Because what was taken from you in that moment of full display was not a result. It was something more fundamental and more permanent. It was your mystery. And mystery, once surrendered, does not return simply because you decide you want it back. Most people will spend their entire lives never understanding why certain individuals carry a weight in every room they enter that cannot be explained by what those individuals have visibly done. Credentials are real, but they do not account for the gravity. The track record is impressive, but it does not explain the specific quality of attention that follows this person. The particular carefulness with which other people frame their words when speaking to them. The way plans quietly shift to accommodate them before they have said a word about what they prefer. You have watched this happen with certain people, and you have tried to reverse engineer it, and you have landed on the wrong answer every time. Because the wrong answer is the only one that looks like an answer from the outside. You assumed it was confidence. You assumed it was status. You assumed it was the accumulated weight of demonstrated achievement. And all of those things contribute, but none of them is the source. The source is what has not been shown. The source is the gap, the precise, carefully maintained, deliberately cultivated gap between what is visible and what exists. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka is not the most capable person in every room he enters. He is the most strategically incomplete person in every room he enters. There is a profound and underappreciated difference. The most capable person has a defined ceiling that people spend time calculating how to reach or surpass. The most strategically incomplete person has no visible ceiling, which means no one can calculate what it would take to exceed them, which means everyone in the room is operating with an uncertainty that functions as a permanent, invisible handicap on their confidence. They do not know how hard to push, because they do not know where the resistance ends. They do not know what to prepare for, because the preparation required is unquantifiable, and in that uncertainty, not in his actual capability, but in the space his concealment creates around it, lies his most effective form of control. Nobody is managing him. Nobody is calibrating their pressure to match his threshold. They are navigating blind in a space he designed, and he designed it not through action, but through the disciplined withholding of information about himself that most people give away freely, without ever recognizing it as the strategic asset it is. Think carefully about what happens in the mind of a person who knows your ceiling. Two simultaneous processes activate the moment your full capability becomes known to someone in any kind of competitive or evaluative relationship with you. First, their caution toward you recalibrates precisely to your demonstrated maximum. They no longer need to wonder how much you have. They know. They design their approach around that knowledge. Every move they make is built on the foundation of understanding exactly what they are dealing with. And that foundation gives them a stability in their planning that they would not have if you had left the question open. Second, and more insidiously, the respect they hold for you quietly shifts from the respect that comes from incomplete knowledge, the respect that holds back, that leaves space. That does not push too far because it genuinely does not know where too far is to the respect that comes from assessed value. Respect by assessment is entirely different from respect by mystery. Respect by assessment has a number attached to it, and numbers can be compared, exceeded, and eventually dismissed when something with a higher number appears. Respect by mystery has no number. It cannot be exceeded or dismissed because it cannot be quantified. It simply persists in the form of permanent uncertainty, as long as you maintain the discipline to preserve it. The reason full display is so seductive, the reason almost everyone makes this mistake, sometimes for entire decades, before the cost becomes undeniable, is that showing your capability feels like power in the moment of showing it. The recognition that follows display is real. The validation is real. The confirmation from others that you are what you believed yourself to be lands with genuine weight and produces genuine satisfaction. Nobody is pretending that display feels bad. It feels like arrival. It feels like finally being seen after a long period of invisibility. And when recognition is what you have been hungry for, the moment it arrives, the hunger screams at you to give more, to show more, to confirm again and again and again that you are worth watching, worth investing in, worth taking seriously. And you feed it. Because the hunger is louder in that moment than any strategic consideration you might theoretically hold. But here's the cost that arrives so slowly. It seems like it arrives from somewhere else entirely. When people know what you are, they stop wondering what you might be. And the wondering, not the knowing. The wondering is the engine of other people's sustained investment in you. Investment flows toward possibility. It flows toward the open question, the undefined potential, the relationship or collaboration or opportunity that might produce something beyond what is currently visible. The moment the question closes, the investment calculates rather than imagines. Calculation is colder than imagination, and it terminates at a very specific point, the point where the calculated return no longer justifies the calculated cost. Imagination has no such termination point, because it is not operating on calculated return. It is operating on possibility, which has no ceiling by definition. You want to be held by imagination, not managed by calculation. You want to be the open question in people's thinking, not the filed answer. And you can only be the open question if you are disciplined enough to never give the complete answer, no matter how much the moment seems to call for it. What you hold in reserve is also what you hold for the moments that matter most. This is the tactical dimension that connects directly to outcomes, rather than just to perception. Every environment you navigate has moments of genuine consequence, the conversation where the dynamic shifts permanently, the decision point where how you are perceived determines what becomes available to you, the confrontation where the introduction of an unexpected capability changes everything about how the landscape is read. In those moments, the person who has maintained reserve can shift the equation in a way that no one saw coming, because no one had the information required to see it coming. The person who showed everything early arrives at that moment with nothing new to introduce. They have already been fully seen. There is no reveal available, no escalation possible, no dimension they can add to how they are understood, because their complete understanding was made available before the moment required it. They face the most consequential moment of the engagement with empty hands, not because they lack capability, but because they spent their capability on earlier moments that did not require the full expenditure. Reserve is not passivity. This must be absolutely clear, because the most common misreading of strategic concealment is that it involves doing less, being less, investing less. It does not. The person operating with strategic reserve is often working harder and thinking more carefully than anyone else in the environment. They are simply choosing with precision what they surface and what they hold, which requires more discipline and more sophisticated judgment than simply displaying everything available. Ayanokoji is not passive. He is not withholding because he lacks the confidence to show himself. He is withholding because he understands that the deployment of capability at the right moment and in the right proportion is worth exponentially more than the broadcast of capability to everyone present, regardless of timing and necessity. He is spending with precision, rather than spending freely. And the compound result of that precision is a strategic position that looks, from the outside, like something supernatural, like a person who simply exists at a level other people cannot locate, let alone reach. You have more than you are showing. This is almost certainly true regardless of how much you believe you have already developed. The aspects of yourself that you have withheld from display the thinking you have not shared, the capabilities you have not surfaced, the depths of your perspective that you have kept to yourself, because the environment did not feel safe or worthy or well-timed. Those are not deficits. They are assets that have not yet been deployed, and their continued concealment is not insecurity, it is preservation. The discipline of knowing that what you carry does not require validation from the people currently around you to be real. That the version of you which exists in silence, in the unglamorous accumulation of capability that no one is applauding, is more valuable, precisely because it is more private, because its existence cannot be used against you by people who do not know it is there, because its eventual deployment will carry the specific and disproportionate impact that can only be produced by the thing no one saw coming. Stop performing for rooms that have not earned the performance. Stop demonstrating for audiences that are not positioned to reward the demonstration proportionally. Stop answering every implicit question about what you are capable of with a complete and fully detailed answer, when a partial answer establishes all the credibility the moment actually requires. Give enough. Hold the rest. Not from fear. From the clear, cold, completely unhurried understanding that the most powerful version of you is not the version currently on display. It is the version still becoming, in silence, that no one has been given access to yet. When that version finally surfaces, not performed, not broadcast, not offered up for validation, but deployed with precision, at the exact moment it changes everything there will be no confusion about what just happened, no gradual accumulation of recognition, just the sudden, total, unambiguous recalibration of everything they thought they knew. And they will never have seen it coming, because you made sure of that. That is not luck. That is architecture. Build it in silence. Deploy it with precision. And never, not once, show them everything